Good everyone. We're going to get started, and this is going to be a little unusual, but I think given what's happened over the past week, I'm going to ask my colleagues and everyone to stand. I want to acknowledge some sad events that occurred this week. So normally we don't do a moment of silence during the work session, but over the past week, 3 legends of Baltimore have passed. 2 in elected office and 1 who's been a champion for the working class and for labor organizations for many years. So firstly, close to the Baltimore County Council, the first African-American council member, Ken Oliver, unfortunately passed this week. So keep him and his family in your thoughts. Over across the line in Baltimore City, Mary Pat Clark passed, who was the first female president of Baltimore City Council and a champion of neighborhoods throughout her life. And then also fighting for organized labor and the working person, Glenn Middleton also passed. So if you could keep the families of those 3 legends in your mind for this moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, our first item is going to be appointments, and we have for the Department of Aging, Ms. Hung Tan. Come on up, Ms. Tan. This is your first council meeting, right? So if you can sit right over there in the witness chair, turn on your microphone, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is not at all intimidating. But good evening, everyone. Chairman Patoka and members of the council, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and for considering my appointment as director of the Baltimore County Department of Aging. I'm truly honored to have been appointed by the county executive, and I'm excited about the opportunity to potentially serve Baltimore County. I wanted to kind of just start and share a little bit about myself, but as I was preparing for today, I was with my children last night and I was putting my thoughts together, and I was begging my kids to go to bed because today was a big day and my husband's away at work on a work trip, and it's just been me holding down the fort for a couple of days. And I was winding down, they asked, why is today a big day? And my kids are always curious. They're always curious. They're 6 and 9, especially around bedtime, asking 1,000 questions. So I told them that today I get to share with the council and members of the council why I wanted to work for the county. And then I asked them, what do you think I should share? What should mom share? And my 6-year-old daughter, who dreams of actually running for office one day and to become the future mayor of some city, looked at me and said, Mama, why don't you just tell them that you're excited to work for the county? And then my 9-year-old chimes in and he says, just tell them that you're a good person and that you always will try to do the right thing and that you work hard. And then I smiled at them thinking, wow, they're really wise for young children, and that's exactly what I wanted to share and hope to bring to this role. So first, emphasizing that I'm really excited about this opportunity to serve, to hope to make a broader impact in Baltimore County, especially for older adults. Supporting and caring for older adults is very personal to me. My grandparents helped raise me up until I was 11 while my parents worked and went to school. I later became their family caregiver when they aged in place at home. So caring for older adults is something I understand at a very personal level, and that I bring that experience with me professionally in the work that I do. I bring over 20 years of experience in the public sector, starting my career as a community health worker, helping older refugee and immigrants navigate our very complex healthcare system. I spent about 5 years at a nonprofit communications think tank advancing health equity in the state of Connecticut. And for the last 9 years, I've had the privilege of serving in the local government in Baltimore City as Deputy Health Commissioner and the Director of the Area Agency on Aging in Baltimore City, where I've worked to expand and advocate for resources, where I worked to more than double our annual operating budget to serve older adults in the city. And as I shared during my one-on-ones in the city, the Area Agency on Aging is housed right in the local health department. So I'm at the forefront of public health and aging. I'm very proud of the team that I've built and that I was able to lead at the health department. I've had extensive experience at rolling out new initiatives in the city, including overseeing large-scale capital projects to improve our senior centers. The second point I wanted to make that my son reminded me to share is that I'm a good person and that I will always try to make the right choices. Throughout my career, I've handled multiple crises, from public health emergencies to weather-related challenges, working collaboratively with agency partners. These experiences taught me the importance of serving with transparency, compassion, and integrity, and I'm committed to always acting in the best interests of our community. And if appointed, I will carry these values forward in every decision that I make. Finally, as my son shared, I'm a hard worker. Work ethic is something I deeply value, and I lead by example. I strive to build a culture that's supportive and mission-driven, where the team can thrive. I look forward to serving Baltimore County's older adults with the same energy and commitment, recognizing their unique challenges and the vital role that they play in our communities. So thank you so much for the opportunity to introduce myself, share a little bit about why I'm interested in this role, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have for me.
Thank you, Ms. Tan. Do any of the members have any questions? Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Tan, I think you can tell your 6-year-old who aspires to public office, we're looking for a county executive.
Don't tell her that, because she will run. She was very disappointed.
I'm not
that
sure
I will no
she
longer.
meets the age requirements quite yet, but you and I met earlier today, and it was a pleasure speaking with you. I found you to be a very knowledgeable, passionate, inquisitive person, and certainly qualified. So I'll look forward to voting for you for your confirmation next week.
Thank you so much for your support, Councilman.
Councilman Martin.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank you for meeting with me. We had a good conversation about the nexus between aging and healthcare and transportation and a lot of other issues, and you have an exemplary record, and I fully intend to support you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Any additional comments, questions from the council? Councilman Jones?
Yes, Ms. Tan, I'm sorry we haven't had an opportunity to formally meet yet, but I look forward to meeting you and having a conversation with you. Needless to say, the service we provide to our seniors are extremely important, and I really appreciate you stepping up in this very important role. And I had the privilege of going to a senior center today for a veterans program, where I had an opportunity to meet a Mr. Lee, who was 98 years old and was telling me about his experience in World War II. So that's just one of the so many people that we have in our senior population here in Baltimore County. So needless to say, it's an extremely important job, and I want nothing but the very best for them. So thank you for stepping up.
Thank you, Councilman. Older adults are assets to our community, and that's just one example of the value that they bring. So thank you. I look forward to meeting tomorrow.
Good. Any additional comments? Councilman Ertel?
Yes, Mrs. Tan, thanks for having a conversation with us on Friday. And you actually enlightened me to some of the dynamics of just some of the aspects of the aging community, and it was a good conversation. One thing you did not mention in your testimony, because this gets you big points, not so much with the rest of us, but Mrs. Tan is from the 3rd District, Councilman. So I just in case you were on the fence, that'll get you over the fence.
Thank you. Councilman Earl actually helped me point that out. I
Any
just
additional
recently moved to the
questions for Ms.
county.
Tan?
Of course.
Okay. Ms. Tan, if your children do want to be mayor or county executive or in a leadership position, one of the things that is helpful to getting there is to learn how to canvas. And from what you said, that they can talk about you being excited and being good at your job and being a nice person, that's a real skill set in the canvassing world of knocking on doors and supporting a candidate. So I'm
Well,
just
Mr.
saying.
Chairman, Penelope will talk your ear off if you let her. So looking forward to that.
But I want to thank you for meeting with me. My district has the single largest age cohort in the Pikesville area is over 65. The next largest age cohort is 54 to 65. So the services that your agency provides are in need in the Pikesville area, certainly, but also in areas throughout the county, especially inner Beltway neighborhoods where seniors are aging in place. They're in the same house they moved in when their kids went to school. Some are on single story, and that works out well. Some in split level, and then on multi-story or 2 levels. But I think it's something that needs to be high on your radar screen, and we talked about that. I think it is. And I will say, and I know the budget director is here and the county administrative officer is here, the Because program to help seniors aging in place is one of the most important things we can do in Baltimore County. And if you're not familiar with the Because program, it's similar to a program that I headed up at LifeBridge Health, which is called HUBs, Housing Upgrades to Benefit Seniors. Because is the same concept where we provide health and safety upgrades, weatherization, roof repairs, furnace repairs, boiler repairs for, and I think the grants are up to 15,000, I think. But with our population aging in place, as we formulate this year's budget to the folks that are in, I think it's important to keep the Because program. It's an acronym. I don't know exactly what it, Ms. Rill might be able to tell us what it stands for. But Baltimore County Upgrades to Seniors, very similar to the HUBs program that I worked on. So just want to put that in on your radar screen as you first walk into office, so that it's something that you'll advocate for, and we'll do it. Certainly, I won't speak for my colleagues, but certainly I will advocate for it with the budget director and county administrative officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for mentioning the Because program. I'm very familiar with HUBs, and HUBs is a public-private partnership in the city.
Yes.
It does wonderful things, and the Because program, actually, we were just, in my current role, was going to look at the Because program because they integrate both the Aging Disability Resource Center, as well as the upgrade services. And so it's a very important program, and I would very much look forward to
In the HUBs
expanding
program,
it.
we sent a social worker out to individual houses of folks that were over 65. I'm not sure if we do that in the Because program, but it was, yeah, so Ms. Rill's shaking her head yes. So I thought it was really helpful because social worker, while they're going to look at these look at weatherization, look at safety features, they're also, they're with the lens of a social worker, are looking at anything else that might be out of whack in that home. And so it's a really outstanding program that helps seniors throughout the region. So thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Sure. Any additional questions? Well, thank you. And thank you. I look forward to supporting your nomination.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for the moment of silence for the 3 members of Baltimore City's leadership.
It's my honor.
Yes.
Okay. Our next, and I may ask Ms. Belcastro to help me with the pronunciation because she is outstanding in terms of pronunciation, but I'm going to take a shot at it. Our next appointment is Emily Jolessier. How close
Or
was that?
Joliker.
Not Jolessier? Okay. Joliker? Yes. Okay, well, that's a fancy name, too.
Thank you, Chairman Patoka and members of council for having me here today and for considering my nomination for appointment as People's Counsel for Baltimore County. I have 14 years of experience as an active trial attorney. I specialized in the defense of civil cases involving personal injury law, employment law, and other insurance defense claims. What brought me to seek employment with Baltimore County, however, was the work that I did in defending local municipalities through one of my prior firm's clients, the Local Government Insurance Trust. Having represented several local municipalities all over this state, I learned a lot about how local governments operate and the time and work and the dedication of many people that it takes to do so. It also exposed to me all different areas of the law, including land use. And I can think of two cases in particular from my prior experience that sparked my interest further in land use, a non-conforming use case and a riparian rights case. So since working as the interim People's Counsel on assignment from the Office of Law for the past 2.5 months, I have jumped right into the daily operation of the office, and I've had the opportunity to learn and interpret the zoning regulations through different contested and non-contested cases. And one thing that has surprised me about this area of law is the unique aspect of each case, which is why I have and why it is important for me to read every petition that comes through our office. Coming from civil defense litigation, I am used to more detailed facts, even in initial pleadings, which is why in certain cases with People's Counsel, I have taken the time to reach out to petitioner attorneys to better understand the nature of the requested relief and what, if any, efforts have been made to work with the surrounding community. I've also reached out to county agencies like Department of Planning and Office of Zoning. It is amazing how much you can learn simply by picking up the phone or sending an email and asking questions. So in my years as a civil defense litigator, I've always believed in the open door policy, and I have, and I will certainly hold that to be true for the Office of People's Counsel. Since starting in September, I have met with community association members in person. I have corresponded by email and spoken over the phone in contested matters. And I have also done that with the developers' attorneys. I do believe that everyone deserves to come to the table. And while it certainly is a balancing act, I have already strived to look for ways, when possible, to have communities and developers connect and talk directly. I've lived in Baltimore County for over 30 years. I grew up in Moncton, and I currently live in the Lutherville area close to Towson, where I've been for the last 10 years. So what I have had the good fortune of experiencing personally, and have even more so appreciated over the last 2.5 months, is the variety of land use in Baltimore County. There are rural areas, suburban areas, waterfront areas, and I think this is what makes Baltimore County unique from any other county in Maryland. The Office of People's Counsel and the importance of its function as an independent office, I have learned plays an instrumental part in maintaining those unique land use characteristics when in the interest of the public or in the defense of the master plan or comprehensive zoning maps. I would love the opportunity to continue to work as People's Counsel for Baltimore County, and I am grateful and honored to have been nominated for the position. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Joliker. I got that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, do any of the members have any comments? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you for our conversation earlier. As I said then, I'm very happy to support your nomination. Your predecessor, Pete Zimmerman, was a very good friend to many of us. Served in his position for 31 years, from 1993 to 2024, and is greatly missed. And as I mentioned when we were talking earlier, you're not just an attorney, you're a resource for community organizations You help level the playing field, I think, for a lot of people. Very impressed with your background, and just wish you all the best in this position.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Councilman Jones?
No, again, just want to thank you for stepping up. That too is a very important job. People will come to you oftentimes when they don't have any place else to go. So I wish you well, and I look forward to talking with you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any additional questions? Well, Mr. Jolicoeur, let me just apologize. You had to cancel our meeting today. Something came up that was unexpected, but I do look forward to meeting with you before the final vote for your nomination. And I began today's meeting with commenting about the loss of 3 giants, but really there's a 4th giant that we lost in Pete Zimmerman, who has been a legend for Baltimore County for so many years. So you've got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I knew Peter well as well, and I think he was in the People's Council office for a lot longer maybe than he was deputy. He was People's Council.
For Phyllis Friedman, right?
For a while, yeah, with Phyllis Friedman, and then, right. So he's been in the office for quite some time, and I knew him very well.
So this is a question perhaps for Mr. Reed or Madam CAO. So back when I was Deputy Director of Planning, the People's Council budget was in the Office of Planning. Is that still the case? Okay. All right, so I just want to know where to find you in the budget. And so that we make sure that, now, do we have a Deputy People's Council?
We don't have a Deputies People's Council, but we are talking about succession planning in the upcoming budget for.
So at one time there was People's Council and a Deputy People's Council.
Right, it was a part-time position previously, and we've done some adjustments to shore up the office a little bit more in this budget. So we moved it to a full-time position, and in doing so, we had to take some of the funding from the part-time position, but we're having conversations about having some succession planning and possibly doing another position in that office.
I suspect the workload may increase, and so without seeing the budget, just say that it might be important to raise that the priority up on having a Deputy People's Council in place. Well, thank you, and I look forward to meeting with you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is Mr. James Benjamin, and we're shifting around a little bit. This is amendment to contract with Whitman Record. We're on page 79, if anybody's following along. So, Mr. Benjamin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the council. The administration is requesting retroactive approval of an amendment to a contract with Whitman Record and Associates, LLP, to continue providing consulting services with respect to a legal case against the county. The original contract commenced January 26, 2023, and continues through December 31st, 2024. The proposed amendment commenced September 25th, 2024, increasing the maximum compensation by $25,000, from $25,000 to $50,000 for the entire approximately 1 year and 11-month term. The contractor is serving as a consultant for the county in regard to a contract claims matter. The contractor was the prime design consultant on the construction project under dispute. The contractor has a deep technical knowledge related to the matter, as well as experience in finding unique solutions to construction-related problems, and has a reputation as one of the industry's most reliable geotechnical resources. Under the proposed contract amendment, the contractor will continue to provide expert reports, testify in proceedings, and review documents in consultation with the office. The county's financial system indicates that as of October 29, 2024, expenditures under the contract totaled $23,320. The case proceeded before the Office of Administrative Hearings in late October. The proposed amendment is necessary because of the additional services required related to the October 2024 hearing and post-hearing work, which hasn't begun yet. I'm advised that much of the work with regard to the hearing has taken place already. All other terms and conditions remain the same. The county may terminate the agreement by providing 30 days prior written notice. As noted, the proposed amendment commenced on September 25th, 2024, with some costs incurred prior to November 2024, exceeding $23,320. Evidently, there was confusion with timing for contract payments, and so my office sincerely apologizes for the charter violation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Benjamin? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Mr. Benjamin, you have another contract?
Yes, sir. This is a fiscal matter 12. The administration is requesting approval of a Fourth Amendment to a contract with Nelson, Mullins, Riley, and Scarborough LLP to continue providing outside legal counsel with respect to a class action litigation filed against the county. This litigation concerns whether inmates at BCDC who worked at the Essential Acceptance Facility may qualify as employees under the Fair Labor Standards Act. The proposed amendment, which commences upon council approval, would apply retroactively to costs incurred since August 1st, 2024, would increase the maximum compensation by $3,200,000 from $1,350,000 to $4,550,000 for the entire contract term. The amendment also provides for a potential adjustment in the lawyer's hourly rate and clarifies the contractor's role in litigation. As you recall, earlier this year, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, and the county sought to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. The contractor, on the county's behalf, prepared and filed a petition for writ of certiorari for review and consideration by the U.S. Supreme Court. In the meantime, the case has been remanded back to the U.S. District Court of Maryland for further proceedings. The county is currently engaging in complex, protracted discovery on the issue of damages before the U.S. District Court of Maryland, and may also be in trial before the U.S. District Court on this matter for multiple weeks upon close of damages discovery. On November 1st, 2021, the council approved the original contract not to exceed $450,000, which continues through the completion of the litigation, including any and all appeals. On June 6, 2022, the council approved the First Amendment to the contract, increasing the maximum compensation by $750,000 to $1,200,000 for the entire contract term. On March 4, 2024, the council approved the Second Amendment to the contract, increasing the maximum compensation by $50,000 to $1,250,000 for the entire contract term. On July 16, 2024, the council approved the Third Amendment to the contract, increasing the maximum compensation by $100,000 to $1,350,000 for the entire contract term. And the proposed Fourth Amendment, which commences upon council approval, would increase the maximum compensation by $3,200,000, as I said before, to $4,550,000, for the entire contract term. The proposed amendment provides that for the purposes of any appeal before the U.S. Supreme Court or trial before the U.S. District Court of Maryland, it may be necessary to increase the blended rate per hour for attorneys, which is currently $425 an hour, subject to future negotiation. This would not have impact on the maximum compensation allowed under the proposed Fourth Amendment. Also, the proposed amendment clarifies that the contractor is serving as lead counsel regarding the litigation. All other terms and conditions remain the same. The county may terminate the agreement by providing 30 days prior written notice. As of October 18, 2024, approximately $1,306,456 has been expended for services. There's $43,543 currently remaining on the contract. However, because of the nature of the litigation, an additional $200,988 has been incurred for services. So accordingly, the proposed Fourth Amendment would retroactively allow for payment of $157,444 for costs incurred in the litigation since August 1st, 2024. So I sincerely apologize for this charter violation, and I had spoken with one of the speakers before we convened this afternoon, and I'll tell you, as I told her, we can do better and we will do better. So my apologies again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Benjamin? Okay, Ms. Belcastro, do we have any speakers on this item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Peter Richkis.
I see Ms. Richkis is in person, so
Yes.
come on down, Ms. Richkis.
Thank you, Chairman Patoka and members of the council.
Thank you.
For the record, my name is Peter Richkes, and I live in West Towson. I was a member of the Baltimore County Blue Ribbon Commission on Procurement Reform, and I served the state of Maryland as one of its 4 primary procurement officers. So I've spoken to this body on numerous occasions over the last couple of decades on procurement matters. I appreciate my earlier discussion with Mr. Benjamin and the transparency with which he presented the information about FM 11 and 12. But I still want to express my concerns. In the world of procurement, retroactive requests for approval are not a good thing. The county is spending millions of dollars on outside counsel. These unbudgeted expenditures reduce the available resources for priority needs of the county and its citizens. Even 5% of the millions of dollars in attorney's fees could be going to programs and services requested by your constituents in the annual budget town halls. I appreciate and would like to congratulate the county's council's auditors for so clearly describing the circumstances regarding these 2 fiscal items. And as Mr. Benjamin already noted, there have been 3 amendments to this contract with Nelson Mullins just this year. The legal matter, as you're aware, relates to the county's prior practice of paying prison laborers $20 a day for 9 to 12-hour workdays at the county's open-air recycling facility, even in harsh winter and summer conditions. The county has since abandoned this practice. 2 of 3 earlier court decisions have favored the plaintiffs. Nonetheless, the county is now asking to take this class action suit to the Supreme Court. Thus, this request for another $3.2 million. With all due respect, I think compliance with county law would be rule number 1, and I appreciate your time and listening to my concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Richkes. Do any of the members have any comments, questions for Ms. Richkes?
If I may, just want to note.
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to thank Ms. Richkes for her comments and her feedback. I hold her in very high regard. And again, as I said, I will ensure to do better. We can and will do better. And so my apologies again. Thank you.
And Ms. Richkes, thank you for saying kind things about the auditor staff. We don't always, we hear a lot of testimony, but we don't hear a lot of accolades that are due to the auditor staff.
I couldn't say enough good things about your auditors. They're under-resourced.
Thanks. Did you hear that, Mr. Reed? That the auditor staff is under-resourced. Thank you. Okay, our next item, we're going to be jumping around here. We're going to go to page 43, Bill 100-24. This is Councilman Crandall, zoning regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I appreciate the courtesy in moving the agenda around a little bit. I have to leave early this evening to host a community celebration. A courtesy, by the way, that you have never extended to Major Wydick from the police department. You may want to rethink that. So Bill 124 would permit the conversion of a boarding or rooming house located in a DR zone in certain areas, specifically to this bill, the Dundalk National Historic District, to convert a boarding house or rooming house to apartments. Currently, there are no legal means to convert a boarding house that was permitted decades ago to apartments. And there's a particular property in the Dundalk National Historic District that has been a boarding house for decades. And I think it probably began with steel workers coming into town to work at the plant and needing a place to live and shower when they weren't at the mill. But that type of arrangement is no longer appropriate. So this bill would provide a mechanism, a legal mechanism, to convert a boarding house to apartments. I do need to give the owner of the building credit for engaging the community and talking to the community about his plans and his reasoning behind this. And subsequently, the Old Dundalk Neighborhood Association has also supported the bill. So I'll ask for my colleagues' consideration and support on it.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Any of the members have any comments, questions for Councilman Crandall? Okay, thanks, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And given your comment, Councilman Crandall, we're going to go right to the police department.
And just before I'm done on a serious note, Mr. Secretary, in case I have to leave before we get there, would you please add me as a co-sponsor to Bill 9024 and Bill 9824?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move right to the police department. The first item is Major Borowski, and we're going to talk about recruitment and retention of police officers.
90 and 98. 2 ERS bills.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Major.
So this will sound very similar to the last time I was here. If you could recall, a grant award of $107,859 has been received by the Baltimore County Police Department from the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Policy, exceeding the approved fiscal 2025 appropriation of $100,000 by $7,859. This request is for council's approval to accept and appropriate the additional $7,859 in funding. The program supports recruitment, advertising, events, and bonuses, as well as retention initiatives, including team building events.
Thank you, Major. Do any members have any questions, comments, or thoughts for Major Borowski? I hear none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have where am I? Colonel Conger.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Conger from the Police Department.
Good afternoon, Colonel Conger.
I'm here today because the administration is seeking a request and approval, seeking approval of an amendment to the contract with Axon Enterprise Incorporated to continue to provide equipment, related peripherals, software subscriptions, and services for the police department. The proposed amendment, which commences upon council approval, extends the initial term of the agreement by 5 years, which would run through January of 2035, and incorporates revised pricing and payment summaries for the remainder of the amended initial term and for new types of equipment and existing types of equipment. The department is happy to report that the proposed amendment increases the compensation, the estimated compensation of the contract would increase by $35,807,000. That is from the original contract, which was $31.5 million. But this is over the entire 12-year, 2-month term. The original contract commenced on November 21 of 2022.
Thank you, Colonel Conger. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share? Hearing none, thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item is Director Pesterfield from the Department of Corrections.
Good evening, Chairman Patoka and council members. The Department of Corrections is seeking council approval for the department's drug testing service contract. The proposed contract includes an initial term of 2 years and 3 one-year renewal options. In no event shall the compensation paid to the vendor exceed the sum of the county council approved appropriation during the entire term of this agreement, including renewals thereof. The vendor provides drug testing services for our incarcerated individuals.
Okay, thank you, Director Pesterfield. Any questions, comments, or thoughts? And this is for, not for COs, but for the incarcerated individuals?
That is correct.
Are COs tested or?
Yes, on a random basis.
Random, okay. Any additional questions? Thank you, Mr. Pesterfield.
Thank you.
Our next item, we have someone who usually waits to the very end of the meeting, Miss Deb Schendel. Look, I saw she picked her head up when I said that. Oh, happy day. We're mixing it up today, Ms. Schendel.
I know, you are. Thank you. Councilman Chair and members of the County Council, thank you. We are requesting, let me make sure I get the right one first. Okay. Consideration of requesting an approval of a contract with Colossal Contractors, Ernest Contractors, and JB Contracting for labor, materials, tools, equipment, and supervision of painting services for various county-owned and operated facilities. This is a one-year contract with 4 one-year renewals. There is an MBE goal of 30% on this contract, and both Colossal and Ernest are MBE contractors. This was competitively bid and awarded to low bid, experienced, and best qualified. We did receive 9 bids, and we chose 3 of the lowest. Thank you for your consideration. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Schendel. Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay, next item, Ms. Schendel.
Great. The administration is requesting approval of an amendment on the contract for Action Elevator Company, LLC, for on-call elevators and lift maintenance, repairs, and services throughout Baltimore County. There's a current ESCON that there is $38,890. $37 of this is the not to exceed that's available. We are requesting an increase to $2,190,819.16 increase on this contract. This contract will, increase on this contract will allow us to do the Drum Castle number 3 elevator for a complete upgrade, and the county office building elevator number 2. Both of these were previously in our fiscal FY24 and FY25 list. And that will allow us to accomplish that and continue maintenance and repairs. And I do want to mention we are getting ready to go out to bid with this contract, so we appreciate your consideration so that we can keep working on the elevators.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Schendel. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Thanks again. Okay, and our next item, Major Wydek. Sorry for the delay. But you have a real supporter with Councilman Crandall.
Mr. Chair, members of council, I actually come bringing you money. 2 grants. One's the distracted driving grant. It was appropriated for $35,000, and we actually got 40. So we're asking for you to accept the 5,000 over. The other grant is the department speed enforcement grant. It was at 38, and we were also only accepted for 35, so we're 3,000 over. So we're just asking that both of those are accepted.
Thank you, Major. Any comments, questions, thoughts for Major? Next, you have one more item, Major?
Excuse me?
You have another item or just one?
Just these 2.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks, Major. Okay, next item, we have Faith Thomas. Ms. Thomas?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. I have two contracts to present this evening. The first is the contract of sale for an easement acquisition with Baltimore County Game and Fish Protection Association, Incorporated. This project is part of the Jennifer Branch Relief Sewer Project. The purpose of this acquisition is to purchase 7,361 square feet of drainage and utility easements and 9,739 square feet of temporary construction easement. The property is in Parkville, Maryland, and the appraiser recommended value is $6,060. And the property is located at 3400 Northwind Road.
Okay, Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. The Jennifer Run is in my district in the Kearney area, and I'm very familiar with the Baltimore County Fish and Game and Fish Protective Association, which promotes conservation and sportsmanship in that area. So I want to thank you for working with them and for your tedious efforts on behalf of this project.
My pleasure. Thank you. The second.
Okay, go right ahead.
I'm sorry. The next is the American Yeast acquisition, which is part of the Fisher Road Relief and Replacement Sanitary Sewer Project. The purpose of this acquisition is to purchase 4,063 square feet of drainage and utility easement and to acquire a total of 3,678 square feet for a temporary construction area. This property is in Dundalk, Maryland, and the appraiser recommended value is $22,025. And the property is located at 8215 Beechwood Road.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ms. Thomas, thank you so much for your effort on this. I know that our sewer system in that particular area, in the Wells-McComas area of Dundalk, has received significant pressure over the years, and so this project is welcomed. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and again, it's my pleasure.
Okay, thanks. Any additional questions? Mr. Benjamin, seeing Ms. Thomas reminds me that I had asked you about our procurement process for titling services, and you're going to check with Ms. Thomas on that.
Yes, I've spoken with Ms. Thomas about that. We had planned to have a follow-up meeting and would like to schedule a time to speak with you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item is Mr. Chris Martin.
Good evening, Council Chair, Council members. So this is a request to amend the agreement with Tate Engineering Systems Support Services to remove the compensation cap and add one additional renewal year to our existing contract. Tate was awarded HVAC maintenance OIT equipment from RFB 1522, and the agreement was approved by County Council on November 2nd, 2020. The county received scheduled maintenance on the HVAC equipment found in the county's data centers. Additional equipment may be added to the contract, at which time the contract will be requested to provide an annual cost for maintenance of said equipment. The contractor must possess or obtain the necessary manufacturer certification in order to work on county HVAC equipment. The amendment increases the cap to allow for the replacement of air conditioning and UPS components in the enterprise data centers. The UPS equipment will be purchased under another contract. The cost to replace all the necessary components is $2.9 million total, with the HVAC costing $1,450,000. All of the existing components nearing the end of its recommended duty cycle. Extending the component's life cycle reduces, it increases the reliability and reduces operating maintenance costs at large. Expensive hardware components may fail and must be replaced in order to maintain computer operations. The replacements are scheduled to begin no later than June 2025, while the contract end date is 9/27/2025. We are requesting a contract date extension to ensure a viable contract is in place while this critical work is being done.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay, thanks again, Mr. Martin. Our next item is going to be Ms. Lauren Buckler, and we have 5 items for you, Ms. Buckler. It's the value pack. Oh, thanks. Put a piece of ice in. Good afternoon.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Lauren Buckler, Director for Public Works and Transportation. I will start with Bill number 8324, 8424, and 8524. In all 3 cases, we are also bringing money to the county, like the police mentioned. These are funding from MDOT based on formula revisions towards the loop and county ride services. The first bill, 8324, brings in $756,198. It's federal funding that comes through MDOT to Baltimore County towards the loop. The next one, 8424, brings in $139,382 towards county ride. And the final one, 8524, brings $16,572 towards county ride. Happy to take any questions you have about those.
Thank you, Ms. Buckler. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, thoughts? Okay, let's move on to the next 2 items.
So, we have 2 contracts for snow. The first with vendor Juanita Mitchell, also known as Carroll Concrete Construction Company. The contractor shall provide snow removal and salt application services which the county may require during the term. The county requires the right to order such services as may be required. It also reserves the right not to order any services. It will depend on if it snows and if we need to outsource it. These 2 contractors were procured under a continuous solicitation we have for outsourced snow contractors. We have 48 vendors currently on contract. These 2 vendors are both new to the contract with Baltimore County. They are for salting and plowing. They're for an initial 1-year term with 4 one-year renewal options. The snow season is defined as November 1st through April 30th of the next calendar year. The second contract is for Chesapeake Tree and Outside Services, also for snow removal and salt applications, which we may or may not require during the term. Also for 1 year with an additional 4 one-year renewal options.
Thank you, Ms. Buckler. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, thoughts? I have one, Ms. Buckler. So adding 2, and we have 48 vendors, that would be 50 options for snow removal?
That's correct.
Okay. And you know, Ms. Buckler, just on a personal note, I bought a snow blower about 6 years ago, and it's not snowed since I bought that snow blower.
That's really
Kinda
great.
Taking your umbrella out, and you know it's not going to rain. Actually, no, it did snow once. I've used that snow blower once. So we'll see.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
don't let anything happen to the snow blower. Question,
Do you happen to know how much money was left over in the snow fund?
We can look into that and get back to you from last year, you mean? From last
Yeah,
snow season?
right.
Yeah, we can get
You
back
know?
to you, unless Kevin just knows.
We can get back to you with it.
You don't have that memorized?
Not memorized, but we spent money on snow last year on road cleanup.
Say that again?
We did spend money on it, on snow, so we did come in slightly under budget, but we can get you a figure on that.
We did. We had a few events where we had to do some salting, brining, not a lot of plowing last year, but.
And Councilman, it's also, it's storm cleanup too, not just snow, so.
Right. Oh, okay.
Other events.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Any more anecdotes about the snow? This Madam CAO saying no snow, is that what you're saying? And Budget Director saying no snow? Okay, let's see, Councilman Jones has said no snow.
I was just offering some advice. Gas stabilizer, no snow blowers, or run all the gas out of it, one or the other.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want you to know that as a former school teacher, I still get excited when it snows. Because, you know, it was such a great feeling that I could have a day off from school unplanned and do whatever. So I'm sure you wanted to know that.
I'm very happy to know that. Thank you.
Councilman Catch, my colleague to the right says that it's virtual on snow days. And then also as a council member, you should be in the Emergency Operations Center during snow days. Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Buckler.
I've got one more item.
Okay.
While I'm up here. We have a contract request for iCivil. DPW seeks to contract engineering services to complete the sewer work related to Johns Hopkins Healthcare and Surgery Center development, otherwise known as Johns Hopkins Pavilion 3 at Green Spring Station, located at 10,803 Falls Road. Baltimore County has entered into a new MOU with Johns Hopkins regarding this sewer work, and it was executed in June of 2024. Under this new MOU, Hopkins has provided funding towards the completion of this project. Baltimore County has agreed to complete the engineering, permitting, and construction required to increase the sewer capacity. This will be reimbursed by Johns Hopkins, the engineering work. By law and the Engineering Code of Ethics, engineering work is performed under a state licensed engineer. This particular project was designed to 95% under the engineering license of Joyce Engineering. That license is now held by iCivil. iCivil purchased Joyce Engineering and their intellectual property, but was unaware this project was not completed. As the owner of the intellectual property created by Joyce Engineering, iCivil is the only alternative to finalize this infrastructure design task. Happy to take any questions you have about this contract.
Thank you, Ms. Buckler. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? And it's our understanding, Councilman Catch, you did? No. Just one question. It's our understanding Hopkins paying 50% of the construction costs as well as
That is
the
correct.
remainder of design?
And Hopkins has already paid that amount, and the county has that funding.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you, Ms. Buckler.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item is Megan Benjamin from the Department of Planning. Ms. Benjamin.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of council. This item is requesting the approval to acquire a conservation easement on approximately 34.38 acres of land for $342,498 under the state's Rural Legacy Program in the Coastal Rural Legacy area. The use of the property will be subject to a deed of conservation easement to be granted to the Department of Natural Resources by the seller and subject to the approval of the Maryland Board of Public Works. Deborah Ledbetter Fuller currently owns the property, which is located at 736 Earls Beach Road in Essex. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Bill 8824 implements changes to the classification and compensation plan as recommended by the Personnel and Salary Advisory Board or required as a result of labor negotiations for FY 2024. Section 1 of the bill provides that pay Schedule 7 and 8 of the standard salary grades for classified employees are amended to adjust the pay schedules effective January 1, 2025. Section 2 of the bill amends the pay grades for 8 class titles in Section 2, Classification and Compensation Plan, effective January 1, 2025. And Section 4 of the bill amends a regulation in Rule 6 regarding promotions in Section 4, Compensation Plan Regulations, effective January 1, 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, thoughts to share with Ms. Coleman? Thanks again, Ms. Coleman.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Councilman Marks.
Yeah, it looks like the preceding conservation easement is actually in my district. The zip code is a bit confusing. So, yeah, I'd like to thank the Department of Planning. That's the first I've heard of this. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Marks. Our next item is Mr. Gutwald. Pete Gutwald is here, and we're going to talk about the building code. The building code.
That becomes
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 8924 is basically making 2 technical corrections. If you recall, a couple months ago, we were here and passed the building code and some legislative items associated with moving some things out of the building code into the zoning regulations. Once we implemented and started implementing the building code and respective legislation, we found 2 corrections that needed to be made. One is referencing a table, the table numbering of the International Building Code related to roof loads. The second was that we inadvertently omitted the height of a fence in a front yard when we transferred it from the building code over to the zoning regulations. So we're putting that back in as a technical correction.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald. And just out of curiosity, because I see some pretty high front yard fences. What is the limit on the height of a front yard fence?
They can go up to 6 feet. If with a variance, they have to request for a waiver of the height restrictions.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Councilman Marks? Okay, thanks, Councilman.
Thank you.
Mr. Gutwald. Our next item is Director Reed from the Department of Budget Finance, Employee Retirement System.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. Bill 9024 is a request from the administration that amends the part of our code dealing with the retirement system. And it basically does 2 things. When talking about to achieve consistency with state law, it clarifies the definition of military service to include active duty with Commissioned Corps of the Public Health Service, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and the Coast Guard and Geodetic Survey. And more specifically, it also provides service credit for military service in the Maryland National Guard or a reserve component of the Armed Forces of the United States that is incurred prior to county service in the retirement system. And the total would be a year for year, not to exceed 44 months. It also, out of the result of our meet and confer for FY25, it also adds a death benefit for police, supervisory management, and confidential. They're pay Schedule 7 employees, and adds a spousal drop, which is deferred retirement option program, to in the unfortunate death of an active service member, that the spouse would be eligible for the backdrop or a service retirement, and that's similar and consistent to what we have for general government employees. The cost, we attempt to make this cost neutral to the system as possible, and the police SMC are paying an increased contribution to their retirement contribution by 0.07%, which would begin on January 1st. And this bill would take effect 45 days after approval by the council.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Reed? Okay, let's move to the next item. We're now on the council bills. First one is Bill 9124.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We do have a speaker for this item.
Oh, okay.
Dave Rose, who is here in person.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Rose, come on up. Got her already. Yeah. We just had her a little bit. Mr. Rose?
Green light.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Dave Rose, President of Fraternal Order Police. I am also speaking in favor of Bill 90-24. I'm only speaking in favor of a particular section of it regarding the military service credit for reserve component and National Guard. This section of the bill would actually make the pension credit for all of those sections of the military the same moving forward, and they would be separate from full military service before you come on a job. So it would be basically if you had 3 months or 3 years, 2 months, and 12 days, that would be the credit you would get for your military service before coming in employment with Baltimore County. So I have any questions, I could answer them.
Okay, thanks. Are there any questions, comments, or thoughts for Mr. Rose? Okay, thank you, Mr. Rose.
Thank you. With appropriate amendments, of course, we have some amendments pending. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Mr. Rose, you want to stay here and speak on your next item? And just for everyone here, the next item is 9824.
Thank you. I don't want to steal the president of the Transportation Authority Lodge's thunder, so I'll let him speak as to the specifics, but we would be in favor of the bill for the reasons that the members in question in his unit actually live in Baltimore County. Their lodges in Baltimore County. They do a lot of their work in Baltimore County, so we thought that this would be an appropriate fit for his membership. And I'll yield the rest of my time for him when he speaks on the bill.
Okay, thanks so much. Any questions on the members? Thank you, Mr. Rose. Okay.
We do have another speaker on that as well,
Sure,
Mr. Chair.
let's go right to it. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Jim Krasinski, who is...
Mr. Krasinski, or is he online?
Yes, one moment. Mr. Krasinski, you are on as panelist. You may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Chairman Patoka and members of the council, I appreciate the time that you've given me to speak on this. My name is Jim Krasinski, and I am the president of Fraternal Order Police Lodge 34, and we do represent about 550 active and retired members of the Maryland Transportation Authority Police. As Mr. Dave Rose mentioned, our FOP Lodge is actually located in Baltimore County, along with our MDTA Police Headquarters and our MDTA Police Academy are all located in the Baltimore County. Currently, we have about 200 of our police officers who reside with their families inside Baltimore County. And our areas of jurisdiction do have many areas that concur with Baltimore County, such as 95, 895, 295, 195, and 695. In addition to that, we have concurrent jurisdiction through a memorandum of agreement with Baltimore County, which allows us to assist Baltimore County Police with police matters throughout the county. Needless to say, the MDTA police play a crucial role in ensuring safety and security of the transportation infrastructures inside and around Baltimore County. The recent Key Bridge disaster is a prime example of MDTA police officers performing heroic actions to save lives inside Baltimore County. Evidence revealed that the actions of our officers on that fateful night saved at least 30 drivers and their occupants from perishing by stopping traffic inside Baltimore County just seconds before the bridge collapsed. Earlier this year, a bill passed that extended the property tax credit to qualified disabled Maryland state troopers. The amendment, however, did not include disabled police officers of the MDTA, meaning a disabled MDTA police officer can live directly next door to a disabled state trooper inside Baltimore County, but only the trooper would qualify for the property tax credit. Extending this property tax credit to include MDTA disabled officers would address this concern. We actually did an internal audit of our membership, and we found that the fiscal impact on the county would be minuscule. As a matter of fact, we have less than 10 members who would qualify for Bill 9824 if amended as written. Therefore, in closing, I want to thank you for my time to speak and ask for your support on Bill 9824.
Thank you, Mr. Krasinski. Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Krasinski, it was a pleasure meeting with you this summer. The lodge is actually in my district on Wampler Road. I think he said it very succinctly. The Maryland Transportation Authority officers who worked that night in March to prevent people from going over the Key Bridge were heroes in every sense of the word. I believe that they also should have this property tax credit as the state police do as well. The language we have in here is, I believe, identical to what we passed earlier in the year. And as the head of the FOP Lodge mentioned, there's a very minimal fiscal impact, about 10 people. So that is why I'm compelled to put forward this bill. Thank you very much for testifying.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any of the members have any questions for Councilman Marks? Okay, thank you all. Appreciate it. Now we're going to move to the next item. This is Bill 9124. Councilman Young and Councilman Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill 9124, pension retirement credit for National Guard service, expands the type of National Guard service to which a member of the employee's retirement system in Baltimore County may receive credit towards their years of service. This might sound familiar. I did bring it up to a few other folks as well. We've been talking with the administration. The timing was coincidental in terms of what was presented earlier with by Director Reed. We've been talking with them about amendments where their bill doesn't address our issue. We may end up amending our language into theirs, but we're talking about it. The main thing is that if you serve in the National Guard in active duty status, there's no reason, whether you're in the Maryland National Guard or if you're in the Delaware National Guard or if you're in the Pennsylvania National Guard, but you're working in Baltimore County, that service should still apply, and at the moment it doesn't. So we don't have a clear number of how many folks this will affect. We were approached by the fire department to do this. The numbers are relatively negligible, which is also why we're engaging with the department on it. So with that, any questions? Happy to entertain them.
Do any of the members have any comments, questions, thoughts? Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to thank Councilman Young for all his work on this legislation.
Okay, thank you both. Next item, Councilman Young again. This is related to the BM zone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill 9224, zoning regs, uses permitted in the business major zone BM, essentially permits a contractor storage yard under certain circumstances in the specified area of BM zones. We were approached with this. It was we talked with the department as well as Mr. Gutwald. They didn't have a problem with it. It just is a restriction that seems to be either overlooked or just wasn't asked for before. Also, the entire rest of that area that is zoned, it wouldn't apply just here, but it was also an opportunity for folks to use the land that they have and a use that would benefit the other property and apply in a BM zone, which they didn't see why the restriction was there. We didn't have a clear line of or reason why it was as a restriction for a contractor's storage yard. So that have to take any questions.
Do any of the members have any questions, comments for Councilman Young? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move to the next item. And this is the gentleman from the 3rd District, Bill 9324.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At lunch today, there was conversation about seniors in Baltimore County and the growing number of seniors and the need for housing for them, for housing for 55 and over. Prior to the CZMP, I put in legislation which became law that allowed, there was a zoning that you could put a zoning that you could put on property that property was to be used for senior housing. And I used it, and I know some other council members used it. With that same thought in mind, I have this bill 9324 would allow elderly housing, senior housing on certain zones. and that's simply what the bill does. We do have zones in, and this is MLR and ML zones. We have certain MLR and ML zones that are not really preferable. I can think of a few in my district, and they're not preferable simply because of the roads that people have to travel to access these properties. And I'm referring to, in this case, a state road. And I can tell you that the state road I'm referring to, if you all know where Broadmead is, and you know the twisting curve up York Road, that I don't see in the near future that's ever going to be improved. And it makes the Loveton Industrial Park less desirable for manufacturing, et cetera. So that's why the bill is in essence.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, thoughts for Councilman Catch? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, and that's Councilman Jones, Bill 9424, uses permitted in the ML. Councilman Jones.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. This bill, I have a situation in my district where the front of the building, it's okay to allow kennels. And in the back of the building, where there is no one, it's not allowed. So this is an attempt to fix that. The commercial kennel, and there's some stipulations on it. The commercial kennel must be located in a planned industrial park, at least 25 acres, and a net area in the IM district, and be no closer than 750 feet to any residential use property. The building in which the kennel is located must be within 400 feet of the closest point of the right-of-way of an interstate highway. This is my way of sort of tailoring it down to fix this particular issue. And I would ask my colleagues to support this bill.
Okay.
Questions?
Any questions for Councilman Jones?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. This is Councilman Jones again, 9524, bulk regulations.
Okay, this bill here is another example of the bill that I brought forth before, titled 7724, where we're dealing with the OT zones. In Owings Mills, earlier with the 7724, I made some changes to the town center designation. Well, there's other parts of Owings Mills area that is not covered, and of course, those situations still apply. Rather than leaving these buildings vacant or underutilized, and by the way, when they're vacant and underutilized, people are appealing their taxes. The taxes are being reduced, and there's less money to the county. We're trying to make good use of these excessive acres in these parks. Bill 9524 would broaden the types of residential uses allowed and eliminate restrictions that would prevent these uses, like minimum lot area and height, et cetera. If passed, Bill 9524 will allow the transformation of underperforming office parks into a mixed land uses, including middle housing options like multiple family units, 2/2 units. And these are all the things that are recognized as needing more in the 2030 master plan. So again, I'm asking my colleagues to support this bill.
Thank you, Councilman Jones.
Any questions or comments? Nope.
Okay, hearing none, we're going to move to the next item. This is Councilman Marks, and that's going to be, what do you got there, Councilman Marks? 9624.
9624, thank you very much. 9624 grants authority to the Department of Public Works and Transportation to prohibit the operation of a tractor trailer in any residential zone, which it does not have right now. Currently, the code does not regulate those operations outside of residential zones. We've received a lot of complaints about tractor trailers on Earls Road in the Middle River area, and we were working with the Department of Public Service and Transportation to address this through regulation. I am aware we're going to have to probably work out some issues with the state code, but hopefully we'll have some refinements to this bill next work session.
Thank you, Councilman Marks, and we're going to stick with you, Councilman Marks. You have another one.
Thank you. So we did the property tax credits. Oh,
we're on 97.
Floodplain ordinance, yeah, floodplain ordinance. So Bill 9724 amends the definition of substantial improvement regarding property that was damaged by certain natural events and is under the ownership of a specific type of entity. Earlier this year, the Oliver Beach Improvement Association's community hall was damaged in a fire. The community hall is located in a floodplain, and it took the community's, what's so funny? Okay. The community association really had to jump through hurdles to get the reconstruction of this building under the way. And so this is an attempt to tighten the code and to better understand what is meant by substantial improvement.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Next is Councilman Ertel.
Hookah lounges.
Hookah lounges.
Bill 9924. So I think we all have them in our districts. I have several different hookah lounges. They all, some of them are in good shape. Others we found are continual problems. One of the issues that we've found is that unlike a bar or nightclub that has a liquor license, hookah lounges don't actually sell alcohol, and it was never contemplated to have any kind of license that potentially could be, I don't know about held over their heads, but that could be used as a tool for compliance, which we have when we have a liquor license, because if your liquor license is taken away or the liquor board shuts you down for several days because of problematic behavior on your property, we don't have that same set of rules or teeth in the county code. We've also found that hookah lounges are supposed to close at 12 o'clock at night. Often they do not. They often stay open till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Code enforcement has to have people come out on overtime to check on them, and the maximum fine right now that we can impose is a $200 fine. So this bill is going to do a couple things, but one of them is to have a use permit, so it'll be similar to not necessarily a liquor license, but a use permit that could actually be taken away if there's a problem. It also ups the fines, so there's a increasing fine. The first fine would be $250, the second fine's $500. Third and all subsequent for that year would be $1,000. Often what we've heard is that a $200 fine is just the cost of doing business. If a hookah lounge wants to stay open another 2-3 hours, they make $3,000 in a couple hours. $200 fine is not going to stop them. So we think this will put some guardrails around the regulation of hookah lounges and hopefully get them to comply with some of the rules that they should be already following. I have a particular hookah lounge, and I was kind of shocked by this, and not to be too disparaging here, but this is one hookah lounge since July has had, and these are a lot of major things here, from gunshots or to people being shot, to fights, to loud parties, reckless behavior. Somebody came out drunk and ran over 2 dogs and killed them in a neighborhood. 29 violations since July from one hookah lounge.
So this, like I said, this bill's not going to fix everything, but it will give us some teeth to regulate these establishments and hopefully get them to be better neighbors.
Thank you, Councilman Ertel. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, thoughts? Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to, I'd be interested in engaging with you because I don't have enough information to have a conversation now, because I do have a similar situation, hookah lounges around the county. One is kind of known as a problem, and then another one that doesn't seem to be, but has come to me with a number of fines that have exceeded 200 to try and shore up that reality of business. So I'd be interested in having that conversation. I don't have enough information to kind of engage back and forth about it. So
Great.
cool.
Thank you, Councilman Young.
Thank you, Councilman.
You know, and on that subject, by the way, I worked fairly closely with code enforcement to kind of put together what they felt like was a good way to deal with these establishments, because they've been very frustrated. I know the police department's been very frustrated with the situation. A lot of this is what they're doing is skirting the law. Like one of their common practices is when you come into a hookah lounge, you'll buy a section. So if we had a county council section, we could pay $500 to be up here on the dais, and we're given so many bottles of liquor with that. They call that bottle service. There's no bartender monitoring you. We just get our 7 bottles of liquor, and whoever drinks it, you're smoking. Often they're smoking, marijuana as well in the hookahs. A lot of the people are coming out very intoxicated, both from marijuana and alcohol. And so, like I said, we feel like they just need to be tightened up a little bit, have more control over what's going on there.
Okay, I think Councilman Ertel, I think one of my team members is going to go undercover at the hookah lounge to see what's really going on.
We'll have to make them look a little rougher.
Okay, sounds good. What'd you say, Anne Marie, count you in? You said count me in? So, okay. Okay, I think that concludes our meeting. Thanks, everybody.